it's a real struggle. Like being an actor is not like something you just do for fun or for a year. It's something, hopefully, if you're doing it, you do it because you don't know how to not do it.
Welcome back to the Missoula podcast, in studio with the best. Brandon, how are you, man?
I am good. As always, I say that every time you ask. But I'm really excited for this episode. It's unique. It's different. This is the first time we have had a spouse on the podcast of a prior guest. Did you follow that?
I think I got it.
We had a guest on episode 47, Ryan from Flated, the Shark Tank episode. And today we have the honor of having his wife here in studio with us.
Very excited.
Are you a little nervous? Because I'm sure you want to outdo your husband. Is there like a little competition going on?
No, not at all. We're completely different people, and we have completely different, things we love to do. So we're more like very excited to support each other.
Were you with him?
Healthy.
Were you at Shark Tank?
I might tease him a little bit, but
Were you at Shark Tank? Did you
I
go with him?
was on the trip, but
Okay.
I was not in the episode or anything like that.
Okay.
I'm not technically I'm part of Flated, but I'm not part of Flated. I'm part of it because I'm emotionally invested and I'm like the number one cheerleader.
So how was that for you? Because you spend most of your life in front of the camera behind the microphone with the lights on you.
Yes, it's a great
to
question.
kind of sit in the background and watch your husband do what you do for a living.
Yes. So it was really, first of all, the whole journey was incredibly exciting and nerve-wracking. Like I could feel his nerves. And as someone who is more comfortable on camera in general, usually, I think I was there like giving a lot of support and advice on how to handle that and how to like breathe in the moment so that you don't get too caught up in the nerves of it. All three of them, it was three of them. All three of them practiced their whole speech in front of me the night before, like over and over again. And I got to sit on a couch and just like critique and be like, maybe you should try this, maybe you should try that. And breathe, honey, breathe. Like all of that. So that was cool to like be part of. And to be honest, it was nice for once to not be the one in front of the camera.
Yeah.
To be honest with you.
Let's start there. How did you come to be on camera? When did that start in your life where...
Yeah. On camera started later. I was first in musical theater. So that's when I first started being in front of people. I want to say I was about 10 years old. I guess that's, not exactly true. I did do some extra work on film when I was a kid in Salt Lake City. So kind of started there.
Is that where you grew up? Home, Salt Lake?
I was born there.
Okay.
But I moved to Boulder, Colorado when I was 10. So I kind of consider both of them home, but Boulder is kind of, my home.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And if I recall, that's where you met Ryan.
We met there.
He was in Colorado? Okay.
Yeah. It's a quite crazy love story, but he was living in a different state at the time. But yes, we both grew up there.
I would love to hear your version of the story and then his without you guys in the room and
I
see
know,
how
right?
it's...
Yeah. It's pretty similar.
What was it about musical theater that you gravitated toward?
So it's funny. It kind of just came out of nowhere, to be honest with you. I feel like I didn't really grow up anybody in my immediate family like doing it that I knew of. And I was in middle school. I was like 6th grade, I want to say. And I remember them hearing down the hall, they were doing auditions for like Beauty and the Beast. And it's cheesy, but you could hear the singing and the auditions going on down the hall. And there was something that just pulled me to go like spy on this audition session, right? And I don't know what it was. It's like the first time I'd ever really seen that in real time. And I just was like, I want to do that. So then the next year I auditioned and I was in every play starting from like the nobody characters, Fairy number 3 in Midsummer Night's Dream or whatever it was, and working your way up to like being the lead in a lot of those shows. So that's where it kind of began.
How did you get better and better? I mean, obviously just reps, but were you doing other things on the side to improve your singing or
Yes, I was.
acting classes or?
Yes, all of that. I had an incredibly supportive single mom growing up. And so she got me into voice lessons once I started really taking like a lead of my own into musical theater and loving it so much. My theater teacher at the time was like, told my mom, she's like, she's really good at singing. Like you should maybe start her in musical theater in voice lessons. And she did. And so I started doing that for 6+ years. And then I would say acting lessons kind of followed in with like doing theater and doing rehearsals. Those went on. I mean, in high school, I was after school going to the theater and rehearsing until 10 p.m., 8 p.m. until my mom picked me up. Like serious musical theater. Boulder has a very artsy vibe like Missoula. So they took it very seriously. Yeah. So a lot of that was like enveloping my talent then.
If you were in High School Musical, would you play the role of Sharpay or Gabrielle?
Oh my gosh, you guys are going to judge me. Like, I don't know that movie at all.
What?
I know. I'm sorry.
You must not have teenage daughters.
Well, I have a teenage stepdaughter, but I kind of missed. I think that was more my generation than hers.
Crazy.
Yeah, I know.
Wow, I'm shocked. Okay.
But I like the name Sharpay.
Yeah,
so
edit that out.
So you can go with that one.
I like the names.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, go
I was going to say, so Boulder, high school music, plays, drama, theater. You graduate high school.
Yep.
Where does life take you?
So then I decide I want to get into film acting. I want to transition into film over stage. And I had always been drawn to film acting. There's two roads you can take as an actor. Once you kind of get up there, you can decide to continue into musical theater. Maybe you try to go to Broadway, off-Broadway productions, or you can really get into film. And you can do that anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
But, New York or LA are usually the places a young 18-year-old would go to pursue that. So I decided I wanted to go to the film route.
And why was it? Why film versus stage?
It's a good question. Naturally, I think I was just drawn to film. Stage acting is very big. It's very expressive. It's very, you're playing to the back of an audience. And I had been doing that for a long time, and I love that. But with film, it's all about more the internal world that's going on for the actor and more just how we're talking now, micro expressions, really up close stuff where it just felt more intimate, more intense. And I love the movies. Like I grew up being obsessed with the movies and I just thought, okay, I want to do that. I wish I had a better explanation, but
that's great. It makes sense.
Yeah. It just was something I was like completely drawn to. So then I did the whole thing where you have to audition to get into some of these acting schools. Kind of like you do for college, instead of being super smart, you have to be really good at singing and dancing. No, acting. So I auditioned for the New York Conservatory for Dramatic Arts and I got in. And so I started, I moved to New York when I was 17 by myself.
Wow.
And started going to school there. Yeah.
Tell us about that.
It's crazy.
Shock of going from Colorado to New York. What was that like?
It was crazy, yeah.
By yourself. Like I have a 17-year-old daughter. I'm not sending her to New York by herself.
I know, right? Please don't judge my mom. She really she was such a good mom.
She believed in you.
Yeah. I mean, so I am younger for my grade. So I did graduate high school at 17. So I left at 17. So it was pretty mind-blowing the first trip to New York. We did a trip before I moved there, of course. And to see that as a 17-year-old girl who your dream is to like be an actor is truly mind-blowing and like emotional. It's really exciting. So I immediately fell in love with New York, immediately. And then my mom helped me get into a dorm for the first year and, we rode the subway stations and kind of got a sense of how I get from school and get to my dorm. And then she goes back to Colorado, right? And you start school and you're on your own. It was pretty wild. Like thinking about it now, I'm like, oh my God, it was crazy.
What's acting school? What's that look like? Are you in class listening to lectures or is it purely like improv? Like
all of that.
All the above?
A lot more doing than lectures. I should clarify, I went to a conservatory. I didn't go to like NYU, for example, for acting. So if you were to go to a college, like in NYU, you're going to have academic classes and your acting classes, right? Because you're getting a degree in something. I went to a conservatory where it's just a 2-year conservatory concentrated solely on acting.
Okay.
So that is all you're doing for 2 years.
More hands-on.
Yes.
Learning how
focused
to do it.
on that only. So it's all of the things. You have an improv class. You have a voiceover class. You have acting technique. You have, scene study. I mean, it's filled with all the ways to give you tools on how to bring your best performance and develop your method as an actor. Yeah. It's really concentrated.
What did you gravitate towards that you felt like you were the best at? Or what grabbed you?
It's funny. I feel like I always was really good at getting quick to the emotions and the dramatic roles. I think that's how I got into the conservatory. I had a dramatic monologue and I was really dialed in and I brought the performance. And I'd always been really good at getting to that quickly. I feel like as I got older and as I went through the conservatory, I realized what a pull I had towards comedy. And in my real life, I think most of my friends and family would say that I'm like pretty up there, happy, positive, and funny, and usually joking. And it's wild how I think a lot of people would think that dramatic acting is way harder. And it's not hard, but to make someone, you put on a dramatic performance, and to make someone cry or make someone feel something, they don't always have to. You at least did your performance. With comedy, if you don't make somebody laugh, right? Like dead silence in the room, it's like crazy.
So awkward,
I feel like it's way harder. Yeah, so uncomfortable. Yeah. So I first was dramatic driven, and I think as I get older, I'm really into the more comedy elements. But to answer the question more in depth, like we studied Meisner technique, which is one of many acting techniques that you can choose from as an actor. And that was the one that I gravitated towards, which is a technique about being very present in the scene with the other person and living moment to moment. And that always seems to help me get into a scene quicker if I stay connected with the person I'm doing the scene with and really just stay as fluid as you can.
So really becoming someone else. Like you're not
yes.
more than just acting, you are becoming that character.
There is a part of you that becomes it in a sense, but I think there's a dangerous line you can walk is like, you know, you've all heard of method acting. Method acting is a choice and a lot of actors make it. Method acting for me is, not to sound judgmental, a little too crazy. Like I'm Kira. Mm-hmm. I don't want to become Claire, whoever I'm playing, right? Like I want to stay me. And I think it's important to remember we are pretending. It's supposed to be fun and it's not real. So for me, it's more doing all the back work of that character I'm playing. What motivates them? Why? What? When? Where? How? Why are they doing these things? Right? And then I can just stay present in the moment with my person once I've done all that work. So I'm her and I'm partly her. And then I can stay present in the moment with the person and try to stay fluid and not get too stuck in all of that prep I did. Because that's how you're going to create a spontaneous scene and a real believable scene.
Right.
Because that's what we do in real life. I don't know what you're going to say next. You don't know what I'm going to say next. So that's how you stay fluid as best you can. I can't sound way too easier than it is.
Where did life take you after the conservatory?
Let's see. Then I stayed in New York for a little bit. Did some student films here and there. You're just trying to get your feet underneath you and make connections. And did little internships for casting directors. I then kind of began a journey trying to make it west to California. And so I moved to Vegas for a while, with my dad there for a little while. Hated Vegas. Went back to New York for another year, continued on in that student film realm. And then I moved back to Colorado because I was kind of in a place where I wanted to figure out how I want this to look for me. And it's a real struggle. Like being an actor is not like something you just do for fun or for a year. It's something, hopefully, if you're doing it, you do it because you don't know how to not do it. Like you're going to always have it in your life. And you might be working any other job along the way, like bartending, real estate. I've done all of these things to survive as an artist. Any artists out there will understand.
The starving artist.
The starving artist. And then I had my son with Ryan, my husband, and I kind of took a break from acting for 4 years and kind of just enjoyed motherhood. And then when we moved to Denver is when I really started up again. That's when I went into finding an agency and revamping my acting career. So I found an agency in Denver, Colorado, and that's when I really started to get like auditions coming in for commercials and independent films and voiceover, and then just started getting back into it that way.
What was the
Recently.
first role where you got paid and thought,
Ooh.
wow, this is really cool. I'm getting paid to act.
Wow. Yeah. Well, I mean, like technically the first role I got paid to act would be an extra in Touched by an Angel in Salt Lake City.
Seriously?
I was like 7.
That's amazing.
I watched
Isn't
that
that
show
crazy,
so
you
much
guys?
with my mom and
I was
dad.
going to say my mom. Yeah.
Isn't that funny?
Wild.
Yeah. So I mean, God, but they pay extras like $100 or something. But when you're
Still,
a kid, you're like, oh my
that's
gosh.
a lot of money.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
How about post conservatory? What was
Um,
the first role that was like, wow, this is really happening?
I think when I started landing more SAG commercials, which is the Actors Union, they really protect you and they pay you well. And I landed, like, my first SAG audition was a VW commercial. And being on set in such a professional environment and really being respected as an actor and also getting compensated for all your years of work that you put in, that's very validating and very exciting. Yeah.
What's a misconception that a lot of normies think about being an actor?
Misconceptions?
Yeah, misconceptions.
Is a good one is I think a lot of people think that actors are all outgoing and that we aren't shy and that we don't get nervous. We get nervous all the time. We're just crazy enough to be nervous and still do it. I think that's a huge misconception for actors.
How has that served you in your life? Doing it scared, doing it nervous?
Everything. Like everything all the time, right? Like I try to tell myself if I'm scared, there's a reason. And that maybe that fear is the reason I should do it. It's my body and my mind telling me this means something to you. That's why you're nervous. Do it anyway. You won't die. Right? Yeah. So that helps me a little bit if it's anything in general in my life too. I tried to follow that.
Is there a particular role you've been in where you were the most nervous? Or a situation or a set?
I would say most nervous would maybe be back in the day when I did like musical theater because it's live and you have like hundreds of people staring at you, right. And you can miss a beat, but you have to be able to pick it back up. And the heat of the lights and the energy in the room when it gets quiet there's a pressure moment there. Yeah. Like with commercials or film, I don't not get a little nervous, but it's camera work. So we can just cut and do it again. So theater is almost a little more nerve wracking because it's real time.
A little more pressure.
Yeah.
Do you have worst story of you forgetting your lines in a live performance? And
oh God, no, but I've had so many nightmares still this day about that. I have nightmares that I didn't even show up to like the friggin' play. Like I didn't show up. It's like, yeah, those nightmares. I don't know.
So what happened in your nightmare when fairy number 3 didn't come out on stage?
I know, right? Well, she didn't have any lines. Thank God.
Okay.
So.
Let's
jump
into a rapid fire and then we'll get back to your story. What is your first initial memory in Missoula, Montana?
First initial memory would be when I first came here. My husband was born here and we have a lot of family here, but I'd never visit. So I want to say it was 2017. We visited for the first time. We brought our little kids and all our family, and we went to the Hoagieville that used to be on Higgins. We went to the Hoagieville, and then we went over to Bonner Park with our Hoagieville and the kids, and we watched them play in Bonner Park and the splash pad and ate our Hoagieville. And it was just you see the university area when you first get here, and you're like, this place is so cute. Yeah. Love this place.
Hoagieville on Higgins and Bonner Park. That's so nostalgic.
So I know, right?
Amazing.
Ryan was smart to take you to that area.
Yeah, he knew what he was doing. Yeah,
he was like, oh, one day we'll move here.
What is your favorite coffee shop?
Favorite coffee shop. Okay, I usually have coffee at home because I have a certain way I like to make it. However, if I was going to go get like a delicious little latte or a cappuccino, I'm going to Le Petit and I'm getting a ham and cheese croissant with it. Right?
That works for me. Yeah. I agree.
Favorite restaurant?
Favorite restaurant. Right now, Bar Plata. Spanish tapas and good cocktails.
Where's that at?
It's right next to the Wilma. Right next to the Wilma.
Perfect.
Got to try it.
What zip code do you live in?
5'9", 804.
What to you is the weirdest part of Missoula?
The weirdest part of Missoula.
Or the weirdest thing in Missoula?
I just like that Missoula is a little weird. Growing up in Boulder, Colorado, it's weird. They're very similar. And I like that it's a little weird. And I like that it's a combination of weird meets conventional. And you have both here. So I like that.
What do you love most about Missoula? Might be the same thing.
Yeah, no, I definitely love that. I love the sense of community. And I love that it feels like a big town and a small town at the same time. Yeah.
Is there a particular book you've read that has made a significant impact on your life?
I think the one that stands out the most would be the first book I read when I moved to New York and I was maybe 19, The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. Really taught me a lot of self-awareness at a young age and trying to like really look at the thoughts that come into your mind and staying present the best you can.
Looking back at 17 years old, taking off to New York City, I mean, that's like the big city. I mean, you went to the big city. Big lights, big stages, just millions of people.
Yeah.
Went to school, had the discipline. What was it, looking back, that set you up for the success you had later on in life? I mean, obviously there was some discipline, but you didn't have anyone there holding your hand, didn't have anyone making sure you were up in the morning going to school. What was it that kept you going? What was that drive?
Yeah. I think the passion for it has always driven me. It just has always been something I know I've wanted to do, and that it will be something I'll always want to do, regardless of if I take on other things. But honestly, my mom, not going to get emotional. I'm an actor. We live right up here, so it could come out any moment. My mom, she was a single mom, and she was incredibly strong for me and herself, and she struggled. And I wasn't about to like let that fall. You know what I mean? Yeah. Sorry.
You're great.
Yeah.
Sorry. Not the first person to cry
Thank
about their
God.
mom. It's awesome.
We love our mamas, right? Shout out to the single moms.
That's right. That's right. Transitioning from Denver, and you started to get more gigs and you're starting to make more money and doing some commercials and stuff like that. Did your career have to take a little bit of a back seat when you moved to Missoula, and walk me through that challenge?
Yeah, I think there's different ways you can be an actor in different places. Yeah, if I was living in LA right now, would I have more auditions? Maybe, but then there would also be like a million people that look like me, talk like me, and are trying out for the same parts, right? When you are in a place like Missoula as an actor, is almost big fish, small pond vibes that maybe you have more opportunities in some ways. I think it's about keeping an open mind on what you can do. So I have an agency here, the Rocky Mountain Agency. They're amazing. So I get auditions from them coming in. So I work here as much as I can when I get stuff, or when there's, art flowing through the city and independent film and everything like that. But then I also have agencies in other states like Colorado. So if I get a great gig, I'll fly there and work there too. So I think it's about, again, it's not easy and it doesn't look one way. And so being flexible, if you're passionate enough about it, you can make it work in a place like Missoula or a smaller town. And maybe you go and travel to have bigger opportunities every now and then. But there's a lot more art and a lot more film going on in your town, wherever you are, than you realize. And tapping into that community is key to your actor's survival in Missoula.
Can we do a little improv? Can I do another rapid fire section?
Okay.
Have you ever been starstruck on a gig?
I've gotten nervous. Like I did a commercial with Peyton Manning, and that was like a little scary, but not like starstruck. I think I'm like falling in love.
How was he to work with?
What's that?
How was Peyton to work with?
It was fine. It was very brief. I didn't like really see him a ton.
Yeah.
So, but just knowing there's someone there and then you're supposed to be acting with them.
What, up to this point, looking back, what is your favorite gig event that you've done that was just like top of the chart for you?
I actually just did a film in Great Falls, based on a true story. It's called Clem Pellet. It'll be coming out, Pellet. That was a really cool production because it was based on a true story of a man in Great Falls, and It was a SAG production. We had a ton of like LA people out there really honoring a local story. And I played his daughter. I got to meet the real daughter, the real guy. That was a really cool experience.
It's really cool. Were you in Yellowstone?
I was an extra several
Were
times. You? Yes.
Of course.
Yep.
I think that's it for my rapid fire. Let's just I had those 3 questions just come up.
Well, you said you loved watching the movie. I have some more.
Okay, go for it.
Don't worry. You said you loved watching movies growing up. What is to you the best performance from an actor in a movie that inspired you?
So much pressure on that question because there's so many. Okay, the first one that comes to mind that like was one of the first adult roles and like a really Academy nominated and award-winning film that I saw at a younger age was As Good as It Gets. Do you guys ever see that movie?
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Jack
Nicholson. And Helen Hunt's character in there was just a masterclass in acting, in my opinion. And for some reason, and I was like a teenager when I first saw it, I think, watching her perform that and it being such a relatable character. She was, you know, a woman trying to make stuff happen for her son. I just was blown away by her performance and his performance in that too, playing this OCD guy that like, I mean, just watching them together. I don't think people realize how hard it is to convince people that those are really those people. It's truly really wonderful to watch.
Second question. Who is your favorite actress of all time?
Oh gosh, I don't know if I have a favorite actress. Right now, okay, I don't know how to answer that like specifically other than right now, completely obsessed with White Lotus. Everyone should be watching it. I'm sure everybody's talked about that.
Matt, our marketing director, is nodding his head.
Yeah.
He's all in.
Amazing. All of the actors on there like are giving so much in every character.
I
Just
have not seen it.
incredible.
I've heard it's amazing.
You have 3 episodes to binge. You're sitting on a gold mine. Okay.
What's next in your career, or maybe not a career? What's next in life for you?
I think to continue doing what I'm doing. I mean, I'm always hustling and grinding with auditions, voiceover auditions. I would love to just continue to get bigger and bigger things. If I could get something that is a little more, it has a little bit more of a spotlight on it, film-wise, that would be probably the next level up in my career, finding something that is really exciting to be part of. Of course, you have to audition and get it. But, you know, I'm doing a lot of commercial work right now, which I love, but I want to get into more film soon. Yeah.
Is there like, okay, so let me start that over in my mind. I had a whole sentence going on in my mind that you didn't catch, but I guess as far as handling being a mom and a wife and a actress, how do you do that?
I don't know. I'm just faking it every day.
She's just acting.
Yeah. Yes, people make jokes about that for sure. Just like, everything's fine. I'm fine. It's a balancing act. Sometimes when one thing is succeeding, the other might suffer. I think that just happens for anybody in terms of focusing more on your job. And then maybe you can't be there for every moment for your kids or vice versa. Sometimes I have to let an audition go and not do it because I need to be there for my family. So I think it's not about balance. I don't think anything's ever going to be balanced perfectly. I think it's doing the best you can all the time, the best way you know how. And so to answer that too, I'm also love that I'm doing something I love in front of my children so that they know that they can also do that one day and not to settle for something that doesn't light them inside a little bit.
How do your kids respond to, whoa, there's mom on TV or there's that commercial again? Do they care? Do they take pride in it? Do they?
It's funny. Partially don't care. I think they're like used to it. You know, if your parent is like an actor, I think you're just like, oh, it's like normal to you.
working.
And you're like, oh, or maybe a little like embarrassing a little bit.
Or their friends say, I saw your mom on TV.
Yeah. So my son's 9, so it's still kind of cool. You know, they still love you right now. And so,
Nice.
so yeah. So he'll sometimes his friends will be like, I saw your mom on that Stockman Bank commercial or whatever. And then Kodiak has a little proud sort of smile. You can tell he's kind of thinks that's cool, but they're kind of used to it. You know what I mean? He has. I've also involved our son in a few like lifestyle photo shoots, and so he's actually tried it a little bit himself, and he's pretty good at it. But I don't know. I don't see either of them pursuing that.
I'm gonna say, looking back at your life, if your kids were like, "Hey, I want to go into theater and acting," would you encourage that, or would you be like,
If it was self-motivated the way I was for myself with it, 100%. I'm never going to deny whatever they're excited about. I would never push a kid into that ever. Then it's you fulfilling your prophecy, your dream through them. And I think that's a dangerous road to walk. They need to care about it. It's a really hard road and they need to be excited about it, and they can't be doing it for you.
Well, it sounds like you and your husband have both chosen very, very hard professions of entrepreneur, actress.
Yeah.
Like you are modeling to them what persistence looks like, what, grinding looks like. Do you see that in them, that they are picking up on who you guys are as people?
I hope so. I think so. They're so young. I think they're just enjoying being kids right now.
It's probably good.
Right. But I do see, even in the smallest of ways, I think, like with our daughter, I feel like she's so good at working and earning money and staying focused on like that sort of stuff, which I think she pulls from her dad so much. And I think like for my son, I see a very expressive, outgoing, facially expressive little boy. And I'm like, that's my boy. That's my boy. So, I mean, they can grab things from you, right? And who knows? Maybe they'll become a taxidermist and an accountant. I don't know. But yeah.
A couple of last questions for me, Kira. Is there anything that we should have asked you that we didn't because we're not very good at our jobs?
No, it was great. You guys asked so many great questions.
what's the most common question you get from people when they're like, "Here, you're an actress"?
Oh, have I seen you in anything? Yeah, that one. Or like, have you worked with anyone famous? I know you said that, but I meant it in the best way.
Wow, awkward. Scratch that Peyton Manning clip there, Nick.
No. It's great. I love it.
We hang out with Peyton too. It's cool.
Yeah, right.
Totally get it.
Are we gonna find out later that you guys are really good friends with him or something?
Yeah.
No, I love these questions. It's just those are the classic ones,
Sure.
right? We're the classic ones. So
Beautiful. If you had a message that you wanted to get out to the world, or maybe better said, to a young actor or actress that's just getting started, what would you tell them?
Don't give up. Don't stop doing it. I spent like a period of my life kind of like denying it for myself. I tried that. It's going to just like creep up and it's going to get to you. Yeah.
Like imposter syndrome. Do you ever deal with I'm really not an actress yet. I really haven't arrived. I'm still working. No.
I think it's, I wouldn't say imposter syndrome. I think there's like maybe some questions. Sometimes you wonder if you're good enough, or am I going to be good enough for this part? Am I going to be good enough that they pick me? You have to really leave a lot of that at the door. You have to send out auditions, throw them against the wall, see what sticks, and you can't attach too much to these things.
Well, then do you also have to detach on the back end? Like once you walk off set, it's not up, they're editing, they're cutting,
for sure.
And the lighting, like that's.
You do. You have to like, it's so funny. It looks like such an ego job and you have to really remove your ego from it. There's so many elements. I'm just the prop. I'm the mannequin, the vessel.
You see the Stockman Bank commercial.
Yeah.
How do you feel? You're like, oh, I did great. Or, oh, I should have done that. Like, do you feel like, do those natural insecurities that we all have come out when you see yourself?
Of course.
Steve and I hate listening back to these episodes because we hear our own voice. And we're like, oh, I'm such an idiot. Why did I ask her if she's ever met somebody famous? Like,
no.
We hate ourselves. But you know what I mean? Like, does that...
For sure. I'm human, right? Yeah. So like, of course, I'm going to look at myself or something and pick it apart because you can be critical of yourself for sure. I also don't do it as much as I used to because I'm just so proud that I'm actually doing it. Yeah. Like you did it. Like, way to go. There are people who aren't doing that, who want to do that. So you got up and you did it.
There's a podcast I've been listening to. I'm a huge Saved by the Bell fan. It's my era. That Mark Paul Glosser's on, Zach.
Okay.
And he has never watched an episode of Saved by the Bell because it was work for him. And when he was done, he was done. But for everything you just said were the same reasons. Like it would just be critical. It does him no good.
Yeah.
And he just you can't. You have to detach. And so
Yes.
it's interesting because I think we just see the silver screen in the theater and we think life's amazing and these people are, they're like, but just hearing your story of like, hey, I'm still a mom. I'm still a wife. We own a business. We're traveling. It's not all lights and glam all the time.
It's not, of course not. Yeah. I mean, these are real people. These are real people with real problems. And let's be honest, especially really famous people, their lives are probably even more dark or complicated and harder than I could ever imagine.
Sure.
Not to say that they're not also, living a wonderful life or very blessed. But it's not real. Again, like to what I first said in the beginning, it's not real. It's something that the actors are passionate about being a conduit for art. We want to emote. We're very feeling people. We want to express the why of what motivates a character by pretending to be them.
Right.
And so when that stops on camera on stage, they're just the regular people with their own childhood wounds and their own stuff going on. And so, yeah, I think
I'd imagine it's going to be hard to compartmentalize. Like you're dealing with something in life or at home or family and you have to turn it off.
You do.
Like that's got to be a challenge.
It can be. Or sometimes maybe it's a relief. You get to go in and you're like, I get to focus on this and I get to become someone else or use it. I mean, as an actor, you need to use this is the thing that actors do. We use our own pain to showcase in front of people. And then we're like, do you like it? Like it's wild to think about, right? So if you're having a hard day, but maybe you need to play someone who's going on a first date and she's really nervous, I would use that stress and that pain in a way that I could harness it, make it make sense into the nerves that the character is having for that scene. So it's really just an emotional manipulation of like, how can I use my real experience to portray a real character for everyone?
What's next for you? Do you have any upcoming projects? Are you in the middle of anything?
I got to go home and do an audition after this. I'm always auditioning. I'm waiting for a few films to come out. So when I do, I'll post them on my Instagram. Sweet. But yeah, just always grinding.
Where can people follow you? On
Instagram, it's Kira Guay, KiraGuay. I have a TikTok. Don't look at that. And then Facebook as well. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Thanks so much for coming in. Great meeting you, hearing your story. If you see Peyton Manning, tell him hi for me. Yeah.
I love it.
Totally awesome. But no, thank you so much. Yeah. This is great conversation. Just great learning more about you.
This was super, super fun, you guys. This is cool that you're doing this.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Kira.
Yeah. Thank you.
Have a good one.
What's up, Missoula? This is Nick Balla, producer of the Missoula podcast. We truly appreciate you hanging out with us as we dive into the stories that make our city special. If you could do us a quick favor and follow the show wherever you are listening, whether that's on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, maybe you're watching on YouTube, so hit that little subscribe button. It really helps us out. Head on over to www.themissoulapodcast.com for more information, and we'll see you next week.